Well, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, whenever you're listening or watching this, rather. Welcome to this little video tutorial on using Google Earth, rather, in GEO 101, Physical Geography. It is used extensively in the homeworks, upwards of about 140 total points in homeworks. So it is definitely something worth getting to know. It's a very useful tool that you can use in many other applications anyway. And I'm updating it simply because several things have changed, not only with Google Earth, but with how content is delivered by SUNY Orange. So as a result, the video that was previously used needed to be updated. And so having said all that, let me pull up Google. And by the way, Google Earth works only on Google Chrome or Firefox. So I'm using Google Chrome here. And when you first click on it, this is what you get. It automatically comes to some midpoints. And if when you look at the Earth from that perspective, in fact, let me just eliminate the majority of this right here and go straight to it. There it is. That's what it would come to first. There are different layers right now. None of the layers are used, but in some cases, you might actually have clouds show up. I have gone into this layers tab or icon, and I went into custom and I got rid of clouds because they sort of get in the way. But even if you did have it, by the way, let's say you did keep the clouds, as soon as you zoom in to a certain closeness, they kind of go away anyway. I just keep them out, period, and it just makes it a lot simpler. As you do that, you begin to see things like, cities and borders. So for example, state borders, you get to see different country borders and solid state borders in a dashed line. This allows you to see the Earth as it is meant to be seen from space. If you were simply looking down without clouds, you would see sort of like the green forests, the lighter green farmland, and then as you head west, say, for example, from East Texas to Central Texas to Western Texas, how it gets progressively drier, so it gets progressively browner. In some cases, the colors are slightly orange in terms of some of the sand and dust that you find there. As you head west, for example, you get to see how mountainous the region can be and the highly variable nature of the terrain from flat to mountainous and so on. As you head west, you definitely see, for example, the Sierras in California. You get to see how one side is much greener and rainier than, say, the other side. There's a reason for that. We'll get into that in this course. Of course, in California, you have the great Central Valley, which is where so much agriculture takes place. Of course, if you zoom out, you also get to see, for example, the ocean. Now they've removed the water and simply shown you the best approximation of what the ocean floor looks like. Now you have to take into account the ocean floor or the oceans, probably the least understood areas of the world, simply because they're so hard to get to, right? You can't just simply go to the bottom of the ocean. It is not something that is very easily done. But we do know where, for example, different plates of the Earth are found. So Google Earth allows you to see, in the case of the Atlantic Ocean, you have this sort of mid-Atlantic ridge, which is simply where new ocean is being created, pushing land in that direction and in this direction. And in some cases, some islands do poke through the water surface, like the Azores that belong to Portugal. Or if you keep headed north, you get to Iceland. Iceland is an area found in what's called a hotspot. And so here's that same fissure. If you, again, follow it, there it is. And then it makes its way above the ocean surface. And you have Iceland, an area that is very geothermally active, lots of volcanoes, also ice in the form of glaciers and ice sheets. This area right here, Grindavik, near Reykjavik, the capital, has been very volcanically active over the past in 2021, in 2022, 2023, and 2024. Very volcanically active, and there are other volcanoes that are found in this region. Now, if you head over to the other ocean, so let's look at the Pacific, you find, for example, different set of conditions. Like, for example, you find these deep, dark blue gouges. These are ocean trenches. This is where one plate is being shoved under another plate and forming a very, very deep ocean trench. So the deepest parts of the oceans are found in these trenches. So you find them along the Philippines, Japan, Russia, the United States, Aleutian Islands, Alaska. And then if you head south into the southern hemisphere, along the western shore of South America, or the western coast of South America, all the way from Colombia down to Chile in the very, very southern hook of South America. Hawaii is found here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, or roughly the middle, and there you find the one island that is volcanically active, the big island of Hawaii. And it's the only one that's active because it sits on top of what's called a hot spot, meaning a place where magma is coming up from underneath, but the plate is moving away from that spot. The spot remains fixed. So as a result, this is the only island that's volcanically active. Every volcano in these other islands has since gone extinct. Okay. Lots of great stuff that you can do by looking at this, for example. You can see the different shading. So for example, deep green, like the Congo here in Africa, or deep green in the Amazon, signifying tropical rainforests. Light tan or orange or brown, where you find deserts like the Great Sahara Desert of North Africa, or the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula or Afghanistan. Or where you find huge mountain ranges like the Himalayas as a result of what we know as India today colliding with Eurasia, this bigger piece of land. And you get this crumple zone known as the Himalayas, where you tend to find basically the top 20 tallest mountains on Earth are all found here. Okay. So getting away from this, again, if you want to make this a little bit less busy, if you don't want to see all these names, you can always go here and go absolutely clean, and it kind of goes away. Now, there's some really cool features here. Some of these you don't really need, but for example, this one right here, the measuring and distance area. If you want to measure what the distance is from the northwest coast of, say, Spain, all the way to, say, the end of the Arabian Peninsula, you click on that, you point your cursor there, you point your cursor here. Notice how it's slightly curved. You hit done, and it tells you that it is 6,650 kilometers. If you want to switch that to centimeters or kilometers or miles, you can do it in miles, and there you go, 4,132 miles, rather. So it's a very useful tool. If you're done, it'll do that, and you can save it, or you can just sort of get rid of it. Okay. Lots and lots and lots of useful tools. You can zoom in. So for example, let's look at a city like, well, let's look at New York. You can zoom in real close. And there you see the busyness of the city. You can go in 3D mode if you want. And as you zoom in, you get to see the different cities, like the buildings. And there you have it, right? You get a sense of, I mean, this isn't perfect because the imagery isn't up to the last day, but it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. And then once you do away with 3D, if you want to go back to 2D, notice how it just shows it to you in a different sort of perspective. Okay, you click on that and it writes it up. And then you can sort of look again at different areas. So very useful. Google Earth is a very useful tool. And again, I stress it because when you see a link on your homework, which is submitted or delivered through BRIGHTSPACE. Sometimes that link may not work from BRIGHTSPACE, so you can copy, paste it, and then paste it onto the URL bar on either Firefox or Chrome, and then it usually works just fine. It's a quirk that I don't quite frankly understand. Oftentimes, Google will suggest you clear out all the caches, and oftentimes that helps. It's like magic. So that's one other way of approaching this. But I update this, not only does it show you the newer version of Google Earth, and as it applies to, say, your course in BRIGHTSPACE, but because it's also worth many points. And it's frankly a sad waste of points, like you're leaving a lot of points on the table if you just simply ignore the Google Earth questions. They're there to sort of emphasize and re-emphasize the material covered by the book. In any event, if you have any questions, please let me know. If this video didn't answer a question you may have, or if something is unclear still, send it my way, and I'd be happy to go over it with you individually if you so desire. Anyway, have a great semester whenever it is you're watching this, and best of luck. Bye.